Thank you everybody for joining us. It's lovely to see you all, and we appreciate you giving up your time to come and join us in our TeachMeets, as we know how busy education professionals are. So thank you for joining us with our Raise Attainment with the Study Squad, looking at attainment in Key Stage 2 session today. So we thought we'd just start with a few introductions of the team here. My name's Katie Rose. I am the Subject Leads Segment Manager, which means I work with the Twinkl team to support subject leaders in their needs and things that Twinkl can do to empower you to lead your subject your way. My background is very much in upper Key Stage 2. I was told once I speak a bit too fast for Key Stage 1, so I have to go into Key Stage 2. That might pick up on that at some point today. So yeah, I led English for a long time, teaching for over 17 years, and I also worked as a Key Stage 2 writing moderator, SATs marker. So I've got a lot of experience working in school and trust-wide level at raising attainment for those critical Key Stage 2 points. I'm going to hand you over to Sarah to introduce herself now.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. So I am the Educational Content Lead for Twinkl Study Squad. So similar to Katie, before I joined Twinkl, I was a primary school teacher, also predominantly upper Key Stage 2. I was a senior leader, English and assessment lead for 13 years, and 8 of those years I spent in year 6, which I loved. So I'm really lucky now with my role at Twinkl that I work with a really talented team of writers and educators and designers, editors and designers to produce our Study Squad workbooks, which we hope are engaging as well as curriculum aligned, as well as all the digital content that we produce as well, which I'm excited to talk to you about this afternoon. Thank you. I'll hand over to Dom.
Hi, I'm Dom. I'm originally from Warrington, but now located in sunny Glasgow, and it is actually sunny today, which is nice. Like the blurb says, before joining Twinkl, I was a primary teacher for 12 years in both England and Scotland. I've taught in all the year groups from year 1 to year 6 at schools in Manchester, Skipton and East Yorkshire, and most recently a P4 class in North Lanarkshire. I'm now a dual role content writer editor with the Study Squad Workbooks, and I feel really privileged to be part of an amazing team that's creating some amazing resources to support learning, boost attainment, and hopefully save teachers time.
Amazing. Thank you, Sarah and Don, for those introductions. When we were discussing a while ago the idea of what we can do to support practitioners with raising attainment, that passion really comes out that, you know, we're experienced, we've been there, we've taught in year 6 for a long time. And it can be a real difficulty year on year building on that attainment, that progress. So we wanted to put something together to support you in your journey, in your own settings, whatever that may look like. So today, the overview of the session, we're going to be looking at a bit of data and research and kind of where the pain points are nationally, and possibly whether that's reflected in your own setting or if it's a little bit different. The pain points for subject leads and leadership in general, you know, what are the main concerns with regards to raising attainment and how can these be tackled? And then Sarah and Dom are going to talk you through the unique features of Study Squad and how they can be used to enhance revision, the range of workbooks that are available, the companion resources, and the practical applications. And we're going to finish off the session with introducing you to some exclusive codes and offers that we have within the Twinkl Study Squad line, purely from this TeachMeet. So just to begin with, the Key Stage 2 SATs data, I'm sure if you're in schools right now, you've probably had that kind of conversation about, you know, what's the national picture saying? What can we see across the country? And then obviously that brings it down to your own setting. Are we seeing the same things? I know I was in class, it always used to be those first conversations when you're writing your SDP, you're writing your subject action plans as English lead. What are we saying nationally? How does that reflect in our school setting? How did our previous cohort match up? So standards are actually on the increase from 2023. 61% of pupils met expected standard across the board in reading, writing, maths combined, which is just up that 1% from the previous year. So we've got seen that nice national trend. Reading, again, up slightly to 74% from 73. Maths, unchanged at 73. Writing, again, slightly up from at 72%, up 1%. And SPAG, staying unchanged at 72. But obviously, we're very aware that that may be reflective of what's going on in your setting. It may not be. Your setting may be attaining higher, maybe attaining lower. And I think it's interesting having that background context and thinking about what you can do and how we can support to enhance and improve progress in your setting. But I do think it's also interesting, and things that are always being discussed is other things in the national picture. We are in a post-COVID world. Children have had huge disruptions to their learning and their education, and even just the formalities of school, the working together in classes, having a teacher explaining things in the flesh and not on a screen. You know, the speaking and listening concerns that are always kind of there. There's a lot of literature about the disadvantage gap, particularly with vocabulary, widening post-COVID, which all of that plays into your unique context, your unique settings, and what you provide for your children and how you can enhance and refine practice for them in their settings. So what we want to just kind of start with, and this is not, you do not need to contribute if you would like to get involved. What are the biggest pain points and concerns for your particular setting with regards to revision, boosters, interventions, that kind of thing? I know from my experience, being the English lead, sometimes you were at odds with the maths lead. You know, you try to get the same bodies for the same lessons, trying to argue the point that you had English and reading and writing to enhance, and they only had maths. But it's the confidence as well. I always used to struggle with supporting subject knowledge. We know that the national curriculum is very high level. The expectation on the children, on staff subject knowledge is high. So making sure that people who were delivering interventions, delivering revision sessions, actually had the knowledge to be able to support them to do that. Sarah, what about you? What kinds of issues did you find when you were in school with regards to boosters interventions?
Definitely time. I think time's a massive thing for everybody in a school. So having something that was already there, ready to grab, and any educator within the school could use that to support the children. Definitely, yeah, time, definitely, and making sure that it was something that you could be confident in, was robust enough, and it followed the national curriculum, and it was curriculum aligned, it was Key Stage 2 test framework aligned, just making sure that you were confident in what you were producing for the boosters.
Yeah, that were there. It's really hard, isn't it? Because and I know in one of my schools there was an area in the resource room that you could not touch, that were resources that had been there for a very, very, very long time, and because they'd been there for a long time, no one was allowed to touch them. And you know, we would rolling them out every year, but like, is it suitable? Is it the right kind of standard? And having those discussions, and we might need to put money in, we might need to relook at things, we might need to put some staff CPD in. All of that has an impact on time, resources, staffing, timetables. It's really, really difficult. If you do have any pain points that you want to share with us, please feel free. You can always add things into the chat. Jules.
So something I always used to find in schools that was a massive pain point, two things really. It was subject knowledge, first of all, if you were putting an intervention group, possibly with a TA, potentially if you've got a TA that's come from Key Stage 1 and has been put into Key Stage 2, they might not be as familiar with the national curriculum for that year group, etc., etc. But the really, really brilliant thing about these products is obviously we've got our QRs, which then take you to videos, which, you know, kids can watch, parents can watch, TAs can watch. So you'll kind of got that almost live element of teaching, which has just been a massive, massive help. And also as well, I used to find it was really, really hard for those children in the intervention setting who they feel it sometimes that, oh God, I am behind my peers, aren't I? Because I'm having to have all this extra work and, oh, I'm missing this. And, you know, and you want them to have that element of fun around it. And with the incorporation of games, etc., into this and the mindfulness activities, it just makes it more of a positive experience. That's what I found with it really. And it's just, yeah, it's just nice to kind of tackle it in a different way that doesn't seem like a negative for the children. It doesn't put extra stress on for the people having to lead these kind of small sessions. Yeah, it's just a much more positive overall experience.
And that's very much, Jenny in the chat has also mentioned that the same issue, staff delivering the boosters, having that full understanding of subject knowledge. I also used to, another pain point was parents. So obviously parents, it's a very different curriculum from when they were taught, trying to help with absolutely the best intentions in the world, but are the year threes being taught the column method that they did when they were in year six, because that's what they were used to. So ensuring that it follows curriculum guidance, that they're confident in delivering it as well. And let's be honest, when you look at the wording of some of the content, subjunctive mood always comes back as a fun one that people don't fully understand, but you're expecting people to deliver things or to understand things that they were never taught, and it was never delivered in that particular way. And that very much speaks to the staff that we have. So yeah, I completely appreciate the subject knowledge is a huge driving factor behind issues with delivering interventions successfully. And then obviously when you're looking from a leadership point of you, my pain point with the customers, the people that I want to support, are subject leaders who have that responsibility for attainment and progress, and reporting that to senior leaders, to trust leaders, to local authority, depending on how your school sits and where it goes from. So as a subject lead and as a senior leader, you have to demonstrate that attainment and progress. How are you tackling it? How are you providing individual support to a whole class, which almost sounds like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? That it's this child's individual needs, but you've got the whole class to think about as well. So within that, targeting the key groups, looking at internal data, how do you monitor and track internal data? What's reliable? What's like tests? We've tried many different schemes, many different things, and maybe the wording is different or the way it's presented is different, and children get a bit confused and then can't apply it in a different setting. But I also think, you know, I've got 2 little boys, 1 6, 1 4, and the idea of them doing SATs in a few years' time is quite daunting. You know, they're still children, they're still little, and you know, some of the children that are doing the SATs at the end of Key Stage 2 are only just 10. So what we don't want to be doing is narrowing the curriculum so it is entirely focused around assessment. And this has always been commented upon. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the curriculum review in the coming years, with how the curriculum changes, and making sure that children have access to the wider curriculum and other experiences, not simply just what they're going to be assessed on. And like was already mentioned, maintaining that motivation is huge. You're not going to get that buy-in from parents, from staff, or from the children if that motivation isn't there. And I've just spotted in the chat, Stephanie's also mentioned that missing out on the fun sessions, intervention groups. And really, children, they are entitled to the national curriculum. They are entitled to their PE lessons. But what we're doing is we're narrowing it, and we've all been there. We all know the pressures that come with progress and attainment, that it's balancing that out between everything, which is difficult. We very much are aware of that. 2 documents that I have found extremely helpful with kind of giving me evidence and the why behind ring interventions and how you run them are the Improving Literacy and Mathematics documents from the Education Endowment Foundation. They were 2021 was the last time they were updated. If you've not used them before, I'd definitely recommend having a look at them, particularly if you are a maths or an English lead. And they mentioned the importance of extensive modelling and practice. You know, yes, we're not teaching to test. No, we're not saying that that's the answer. However, if children are given something in an unfamiliar way, then they can't always understand how to do it. So modelling, practice, this is how we'd expect it to be. Accurate assessment. So if we are not accurately identifying what the children's gaps are, what their needs are, then we're giving them the wrong thing. We're giving them the wrong start point. You know, you plan that beautifully crafted lesson, everything's right, but the kids can answer all of it as soon as you start your lesson. It's then reflecting and refining and pivoting to what they need. So they emphasise that the importance of accurate assessment to support your interventions. Evidence-informed interventions to target particular areas. So making sure it's not just, I've seen this, and this was in the staff room, it's got a bit of dust on it, but it looks like it might be about right. Looking for things that are evidence-informed and are really supportive. And developing independence, and as we said already, that motivation. We want children to want to do it and not just to be, I want to finish a page. You know, if we've got that, that's good as well. But we want children to want to improve and to see the benefits and how it impacts lives, not just, I'm going to do better in this test. So all of those are recommended by the EEF, which buys into successful interventions and successful boosters. So I'm going to hand you over to the wonderful Sarah and Dom to explain a little bit about how Study Squad can support with your boosters interventions for Key Stage 2.
Thanks, Katie. So firstly, what are the Study Squad workbooks and why did we create them? So to put it simply, to help those who teach. So all the team have all been in the classroom. We understand the unique challenges facing teachers and leaders when it comes to raising attainment, especially juggling class teaching responsibilities and sometimes several subject leadership priorities. So the team and I feel passionately about creating a range of resources that are more than just workbooks. They're an all-in-one complete revision toolkit of printed resources and also linked digital content. So they will save teachers time, as we know there isn't much of that spare in a busy school, and also give peace of mind that they match all the curriculum objectives that we're looking for. So we also really feel passionately about workbooks that children find engaging and motivating, but at the same time, they're robust, they're curriculum aligned, and they allow for that quality intervention, gap spotting, and test practice. So a versatile and hassle-free all-in-one resource that can be used in class, it can be used for intervention sessions, small group work, at home, or set as homework. Within our workbooks, we have QR codes that are instantly scannable. So within the workbooks, there's lots of QR codes that link to concept explainer videos as well as interactive Go games, which are for consolidation. So as soon as they are scanned, they will instantly download. You don't have to re-log in. So there's no barrier there in terms of an extra layer of logging in, as we know sometimes technology is not on our side. So when I was in the classroom, I found it really difficult to find high quality curriculum aligned concept videos out there. I really was looking for something with clear model vocabulary. We spoke about, Katie's already mentioned how important vocabulary is, models, examples, text technique, SAT style questions, and we just couldn't find any. But we now have hundreds of these clear explainer videos ready to use. So they're all on site now, all ready to use. So the concept videos are really ideal as well if you set in the workbook pages as homework, because the children have the video explainer to help them if they get stuck, or for any of the adults supporting the children, they can see the way the concept's being explained at school. Katie mentioned earlier about parents saying, you know, I wasn't taught this way, I don't understand. It empowers all educators to be able to support the children in their learning. Similarly, with high quality engaging consolidation games, the range out there was limited. So the Study Squad team created our own, and we're really proud of them. Another key feature of the workbooks is the progress trackers, the self-assessment and the target setting opportunities. So especially with the progress trackers, teachers can see gaps quickly at a glance, and the children can take some ownership over their own learning as well, and talk about what they'd like to celebrate, what they'd like to improve, and have that motivation to improve, not just filling the pages in, like Katie mentioned earlier. Another feature the team are passionate about are our mindfulness activities. So we all know those brain breaks are super important. We've tried to make them as fun as possible with ongoing quests through the books, so that if they finish a unit, they may earn something, and challenges as well throughout the books, the workbooks, to engage children further, just make them a little bit more unique than others out there. So I will go into a little bit more detail now about our workbook ranges and how they can be used to raise attainment in maths in particular. So first of all, we do have a SAT range. We've mentioned SAT quite a few times already. So in the maths SAT range, we have reasoning workbooks and an arithmetic workbook. So they are completely aligned to all aspects of the Key Stage 2 test framework. We felt it was really important for the questions to be written in a SAT style way, with the same wording that they use in the SATs test, to get children familiar with that wording. And, you know, SATs aren't a scary thing because you've done this loads of times before. The mark boxes down the side, so the children get used to what a 2-mark question looks like, what a 3-mark question in reasoning looks like. We also wanted to include help pages at the end of each of the books. So things like times table maths, prime number maths, place value charts, to save educators having to search for them, download them, print them off, photocopy them. They're in the back of the workbook already, so children can use them as a tool if they're at home, if they're in class, if they're in intervention, as a bit of a reference point. We've had schools tell us that these are great for homework. One particular school said that what they like to do is when they're setting the homework for the children, they'll watch the video together in class. So these are short, snappy explainer videos, about 5 minutes long. And then they'll set the homework and they'll remind the children that there's the QR codes there for you to scan at home if you get stuck again, if you've forgotten what we've gone over in class, it's there. But we also felt that we didn't want access to technology to be a barrier to children's learning as well. So on each of our concepts, we have a written explainer as well as a models example as well. So yeah, so the QR codes really are a brilliant extra tool for children to revise and to empower those adults and to support the children with their learning. And we have over 200 concept videos for our maths SATs range, all on site at the moment, and 90 interactive revision games. So they're all different types of games, so it's not all samey. We just wanted to mix it up a little bit and make sure that we're engaging the children as well as much as we can. Here's just a few more features that are in these SATs books in particular. So we felt it was really important in the reasoning workbooks to have a notes and a working out page. to encourage the children to really, especially for those 3-mark reasoning questions, we really wanted them to be able to do their jottings, practice the working out, but then also, most importantly, popping those, the answer in the working out into the correct answer box for the marker to market. So all of that practice helps. The progress tracker that I've mentioned before, so you can see at a glance where the children want to celebrate their achievements, where they want to work a little bit more on something, and some self-reflection. So always starting with the positive, what went well, and my target to improve next time. And then my favourite feature, I'd have to say, is our little colouring in self-assessment icons that we have in each of our books. So for the maths ones, it's superheroes. So are you flying in the sky with this concept, or are you somewhere in between? And you'll see as we go through the other workbooks that they're all bespoke to that particular style of workbook, and they're all a little bit quirky. Okay, so our newest, just before I move on to this one, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the structure as well, sorry. So the structure of the workbooks, I've mentioned that there's a written explainer and the video explainer. We've then got a warm-up activity, and then a main activity, which is the SAT style questions, and then a challenge as well. So they're set into quite they're really ideal for intervention in that way, because you've got the different sections, and you might have children who only get to the warm-up that day in that intervention, or you might have children who get to the challenge, and you can differentiate it that way within your setting, what works best for your children. Okay, so this is our newest product line that's actually launching early next year. So I wanted to mention it today because some of the digital resources are available already on site, and the workbooks are coming really soon, and it is something that we are really excited about in our team. So it's called Thrive in 5, and in a nutshell, it's 5-minute daily activities to strengthen skills and increase knowledge and retention. So there is a maths book for each year group, and it's all about promoting that sticky knowledge that is high on Ofsted's agenda. So how we get children to learn more and remember more, which we know as subject leads and teachers, it's at the forefront of our minds all the time. So the way that this is structured is we have sticky knowledge. Sid's our stick insect at the top, and he will introduce a sticky knowledge concept. It might be something that is related to the main activity. It might be something that was taught a couple of weeks ago. Because these are term specific, we've really been able to pin down the key progression points and across year groups as well. So what's unique about this product line is that you won't get 5 pages of fractions together and then 5 pages of shape. It will be all mixed in, because it's about coming back to those key objectives and making sure that children are remembering. So you might have one day it might be division, and the next day it might be about 3D shapes, and it's all about returning to those things that children need to keep ticking along. So we've got over 200 concept videos again for this, and 108 interactive revision games on site. So yeah, like I say, they will be launched in March, so keep your eyes open for those. I'm now going to hand over to Dom, who's going to tell us a little bit about a couple more of our ranges. Thanks, Dom.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I'm going to talk first of all about the Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 multiplication workbooks. So both the Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 workbooks contain loads of really engaging bite-sized exercises and activities, cover all the times tables. So in Key Stage 1, we're starting with the 2s, 5s and 10s. Key Stage 2 is all of the times tables, but again, including the 2s, 5s and 10s, because it's always good to have that extra little bit of revision. There's a really big emphasis on the visual element throughout each book, with lots of different creative ways of presenting the activities and lots of fun illustrations and images, which really do help to boost engagement and motivation. And then, of course, we have the continuation of the superhero theme, which is something that children really enjoy, and it does really boost that motivation. The books are designed primarily for self-led learning, so children can work through the books at their own pace, at their own speed. So they have that space and time to just develop their skills independently. And the Level Up League in the Key Stage 1 workbooks and the Speed League in the Key Stage 2 workbooks provide opportunity for children to boost recall speeds, track their own progress, self-assess, and also help them to prepare for the times table checks in Year 4. Although they're not just for the Year 4 checks, they can be used in other year groups, so they do fit really well into other year groups' timetables and how they're going to approach learning timetables. Another key feature of the multiplication books are the recharge pages. They provide children with those regular breaks from learning and a little bit of a chance to unwind. Answer booklets are available to download for free from the website, and they can be accessed through the first page of each workbook via the QR codes. So like the SAT practice books, we have the QR codes located throughout each workbook, and they provide access to the concept videos and interactive Go games, of which there are 11 concept videos and 15 games and songs for the multiplication workbooks. The videos and games have all been really carefully designed to enhance each child's learning experience, and they link directly to the concepts taught on each page. Again, the videos have all been created by experienced educators and contain lots of really clearly modelled examples and opportunities for practice using the interactive pause, rewind and play, so that children can work through each of the videos at their own pace. The Go games are a really fun way to practice key skills and enhance and incentivize learning. There's a range of different activities such as the multiple choice, matching and drag and drop games. All the books contain information about how to access the games and videos and how to use the level up and speed leagues and print certificates for those. So that's how a lot about how Study Squad can help raise attainment in maths. We're going to have a little look now at how Study Squad can help raise attainment in English. So handwriting. The Study Squad handwriting workbooks contain everything you need to support children on their handwriting journey, and they follow the form, trace and copy format. We do acknowledge that each child's learning journey is unique to them and that children need to be able to go at their own pace. And these handwriting books really do allow children to do that. There are top tips at the beginning of each book to demonstrate the most effective techniques for gripping a writing tool and holding paper. The letters are introduced through letter families such as curly caterpillars, one-armed robots, which do help to make the common letter formation patterns both fun and memorable. The books contain warm-up patterns designed to improve writing tool control and lots of flexible opportunities for practice and application, which means that children can, again, work through each of the books at their own pace. They're really brilliant creative colouring and pencil gym pages where children can strengthen the fine motor skills and, again, take some well-earned mindfulness breaks. In the Key Stage 1 letter formation workbook, we've got the characters Charlie and Ruby, and they provide guidance along the way, with the emphasis on being on building a strong foundation from which children can grow and develop in confidence. There's lots of really engaging bite-sized activities covering all letters of the alphabet, including the capital letters and numbers, and there are catchy letter formation rhymes which are used to introduce each letter. The rhymes are all consistent with the Twinkl phonics, so they go hand in hand if your school is a Twinkl phonics school. But even if it's not, it does still complement other schemes perfectly. Children are encouraged to practice forming letters with the pointer fingers before beginning writing, just to help boost that confidence a little bit, and they're shown how to do this in the linked concept videos. The Key Stage 1 book contains really funny, silly sentences, which contain lots of the target letter and provide children with the perfect opportunity to practice and develop, particularly at Key Stage 1. The cursive and continuous cursive Key Stage 2 workbooks each begin with essential guides to the style of writing introduced, and each book offers plenty of opportunity for practice, and top tips from experienced teachers help to boost confidence and help children feel supported and encouraged. So, unique to the Key Stage 2 workbooks, we have the free writing challenges, and these provide the perfect opportunity for children to show off their new handwriting skills in quite a creative and independent way. Each of the workbooks for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 contain both handwriting lines and normal lines, and all contain warm-up activities with appropriate levels of complexity. So it's always pitched really well at that particular key stage. Linked through the handwriting workbooks, we have the concept videos, which feature the warm-up activities, clear modelling of how to form each letter, and a variety of opportunities for extended practice. The handwriting videos all have an interactive element, where children can join in with what's being presented on the screen. And again, the videos have the interactive pause, rewind and play, so children can work through the videos at their own pace, which we do feel is really important because, as I mentioned before, we do recognise that each child's learning journey is unique to them. So the children really need that space and that time just to kind of work through things at their own pace. So they're not feeling rushed, they're not feeling pressured, and they're really sort of helping to get the best out of them. The intro pages, again, show how to access videos through the QRs. And I do really feel that these handwriting books, we've created a resource that is so much more than just practice. It is about trying to make learning to write a joyful and rewarding experience, because for a lot of children, I think learning to write can be quite a challenging and daunting process. And that's why we've really worked hard to produce something that's both innovative and inclusive. The use of the QR codes to access videos and games throughout all these workbooks. And I personally feel that with the Study Squad workbooks across the whole range, it really is something of a game changer. The QR codes particularly are something that's unique to these workbooks. So it provides a more 360-degree multi-sensory approach to revision and practice. And I know from my previous experience in the classroom, I know how much children really do enjoy the opportunity to scan QR codes to access different resources. It's sort of like a little surprise element for them as well, because they don't quite know what's going to be at the other end of it. And I can imagine the real buzz in the classroom when these books are being used, whether it's at home or in the classroom. And it's something that I would really almost want to have a go at myself, go back to the classroom and try them out myself, because I really think that it does create that buzz, and it really does create that engagement and that motivation, and it becomes something that children want to engage with rather than just something that they have to do and a process they have to go through. So I think I'll hand back over to Sarah now.
Thanks,
Sarah.
Dom. Thank you. We're really excited about our handwriting workbooks and videos.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we also have workbooks for each of the English SATs tests as well as the maths as well. So I'll just talk to you a little bit about those now. So we do have SAT spelling, reading and SPAG. So the structure is very, very similar to the maths. So we'll have a written explainer with the QR code, the video explainer, the warm-ups, the main activities, again, with those SAT style questions with the keywords like find and copy, all those key phrases that children are going to come across in the SATs. And then a challenge, and then also the mindfulness activity that we're really keen on. So you can see examples of some spreads there. The one to the left is a reading spread. So you can see that we've got the text, then a models example of how an answer might look. And then on the right-hand side is the SAT style questions with the mark boxes to get children used to them. What I really love about our reading SATs books as well is that we're taken each strand from the content domains and broken it down. So there's inference questions, there's prediction questions, for example. But we've also then gone a little bit deeper into the type of questions that children are going to be asked in the SAT. So there's find and copy questions, there's multiple choice, ordering, and then there's those 3-mark extended response questions as well, and loads of practice of them in each section. So again, like the other ones, we've got the concept videos that complement them, as well as the revision games as well. And just digging a little bit deeper into it. So I'll stick on reading. That's what I was talking about then. So the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that each of the reading sections starts with the vocab lab. Now, we do love a pun, as you can probably tell from pause as well. It is dog themed because we're sticking with our Totally Pawsome reading gang. The vocab lab is all about that vocabulary and how important that is, and all the research and everything's shown us that, you know, children need that exposure to the vocabulary. If you've been in year 6 for any length of time, you'll know that the 2016 reading paper gave us a bit of a shock in terms of levels of vocabulary, and it's got slightly better from then, I think, but vocabulary is at the forefront of teachers and leaders' minds for sure. So we wanted to create a workbook range where that is a focus in every single content domain. So there's also progress trackers like the maths, opportunity for self-reflection again, and then I just had to share our pause mindfulness colouring at the end because I just think it's super cute. And then moving on to the spelling. So the spelling is done in a slightly different ways. As we know, in the SATs, there's a spelling test, isn't there, 20 words. So we didn't want it all to just be spelling tests. There is a mini test at the end of each unit, and there are some full spelling tests in there as well. But we wanted it to be a bit more hands-on, a bit more creative. So things like spelling staircases, there's an example there of a spelling crossword, all those kinds of things. And that's Spelling Aliens theme. So it's all about sporty, so race to success, final stretch. So that's what we've got for spelling. Okie dokie. So I'm going to play a video now that it's a very, very short video, but it just explains a little bit more about the concept videos that I've mentioned quite a lot and Dom's mentioned as well. This video is specific to English and maths videos found in the Study Squad workbooks, but on the Twinkl website, there's a huge range of concept videos, including French, Spanish, there's phonics, and there's 11 plus as well, and probably more. So I'll just going to share this video.
Hi and welcome to Twinkl CPD, where you can find CPD that works. Inside the Study Squad workbooks, you'll find QR codes that link you to our Twinkl concept videos. These videos are aimed at children and are perfect for homework help, SAT revision, interventions, or for use in the classroom. They're created by experts and delivered by qualified and experienced teachers. Each video contains a teacher-led section to help children understand a particular maths or English concept. There are also SAT-style practice questions to help children try out the concept themselves, and challenge questions to help them develop a deeper understanding. Each video is just a few minutes long and focuses on one specific learning objective. As well as being perfect for children to use independently, these videos are great at supporting teachers and parents. Whether you're looking for examples of how to teach the concept in your classroom, or ways to support your child with their homework. As well as being accessed via the QR codes, you can also find all the videos by typing concept videos into the search bar on the Twinkl website. To get started with these videos, simply click on Launch to watch them now, or click on the 3 dots to download them to your computer. Study Squad workbooks and Twinkl concept videos are here to help you raise attainment in Key Stage 2. So why not check them out now?
Hopefully that gives you a bit more of an idea of our fabulous concept videos. So just a couple more things from me before I hand back over to Katie. So we have been really lucky to get some nice feedback from schools and from individuals who've used our Study Squad workbooks. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes to have a little look at that. So I really like the key themes coming through about saving time, engaging children. Is definitely what we set out to do when we created this product line. And it's just nice to see how they've been used in the classroom, they've been used by parents at home, they've been used by private tutors. So just wanted to mention that we've got something really exciting coming in January. So we've got a new book service called the Study Squad Book Service, and it is coming in January. So this is an opportunity for schools to sign up, to showcase the workbooks to parents, to ensure that parents get the right workbooks at the right time to support their children's learning at home. So we know that these are curriculum aligned. We know that we've got those videos to support educators to support their children at home. So basically, the flowchart explains how it all works. So the school will sign up, and then you'll get a trial box of workbooks, and then you'll be able to showcase them to the parents. There is a really good discount for Ultimate Subscribe schools at the moment of 50%. And it would be up to your school whether you wanted to pass that saving on to parents or use the difference to boost school funds, which I know always needs a bit of a boost. So just wanted to mention this whilst we're talking about Study Squad, and look out for the emails. They'll be arriving early January for more details if you are interested. And before I hand over to Katie, I'll just say thanks everyone for listening and for your contributions. And yeah, I'll hand back over to Katie now. Thank you.
Amazing, Sarah, thank you. Yeah, the book fair idea, as someone who always scouted out kind of the best way of funding revision and supporting parents, is hugely important and potentially, you know, really useful to boost school funds, as we know there is very little money going around. If we can help in any way from a subject leadership perspective, study squad, attainment, let us know. We obviously, with every TeachMeet, there are feedback forms, but also we're happy for you to reach out. We've put our email addresses on there that if you want just guidance with using anything with Twinkl or ideas. Yeah, we've got, Twinkl has so much that you may think, oh, we really want to target multiplication, or we've got a particular issue with Key Stage 2 phonics, and like we've mentioned the decoders, we can kind of just give you a bit of an intro to them in the same way. We're more than happy to have these discussions because we very much understand it. You know, having that conversation for 10-15 minutes about, you could use this is how we'd use it. We're more than happy to have these conversations. We have all socials, which are obviously a lot of different product lines and segments do. So all our socials are on there. Please reach out and get in touch. But we're more than happy to help. And like I said, it means the world that we can support people to do what they do best and to try and save time and energy within that. So that's everything from us. If we can help in any way, or you're looking for particular resources, product lines, just get in touch. We're more than happy to help. And just good luck for the rest of this academic year, and making it to Christmas with not being covered in glitter. It's always an achievement in itself. So thank you for your time. We very much appreciate it.